In this episode, Andy and Danny sit down with Henry Gilbey and have an unfiltered conversation around his TV shows, his photography, his health, and any topic in between. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe to the podcast.
Hi guys, another episode. Welcome to the Tuna Gear podcast. This is Andy Bolt.
Hello.
I'm Danny Parkins. This is Henry Gilbey.
The legend that is.
Yes.
Oh, legend in my own lunchbox.
I'm super excited about this one. This when I first brought Danny on board, like Danny's taken the lead on the last couple because this is very much his department of fishing, not mine. But when he mentioned your name, it's someone who's consumed a lot of your content. I can sign him up. Like I cannot wait to have this one. This is.
Okay, that's very kind, Andy, but
He's really a wanker.
all the TV stuff I did by mistake. Make no mistake.
A very happy accident, though, it must be.
Yeah. I was talking to someone on the weekend, actually. I did a show in Ireland. Look, I loved making the programmes. I loved being under pressure. I loved working with a crew. I increasingly enjoyed the sort of technical aspect of how you actually bring a TV programme together. I've always struggled with the being on TV thing. I was never meant to be on TV. I was just...
I can relate to that. This has been a bit of a new thing for me with the podcasting and putting video content out for the Tuna brand. I never started this to be in front of a camera. I have no social media. I am no sort of... I hate it. In fact, like if you go onto my social media, there's 2 pictures and they involve my companies.
Yeah.
There's nothing of wife, kids, holidays, that sort of stuff. And I actually find it quite an easy thing to slip into. But again, a happy accident, I think.
Well, I love yapping fishing. I mean, talking to a camera is easy. It's like talking to you guys. It's just a screen, a lens, and you talk to it and you do a thing. I love it. And I loved doing it. I've had my time. I don't want to do it anymore. But I always felt like a bit of a fraud with the actual being on TV. People recognise you. Like, I'll 10 viewers. It was an 8 when my parents said, "Could we stop watching? It's a bit boring." So it became 8 viewers. So my 8 viewers have recognised me multiple times. Look, people have been really nice. It's really cool. It's just.
I think you come across very well, though.
That's very kind.
There's no pretense. You can tell there's a love of just absolute fishing behind it.
Danny, I'm just a fishing junkie. I'm just a hopeless fishing junkie. I couldn't do anything else but work in fishing, so I love talking about fishing. If you said, Henry, I'm going to pay £1 million, come present a programme on fashion, stop laughing. If I come present a programme on fashion, what do I talk about? Apart from having a huge fashion sense, obviously. So I just like talking about fishing. I love it. And it just happened to be in front of a camera for a little bit.
So how did that start? How did a TV company get hold of you? I know, but how did...
Obviously I didn't go look. I didn't want to be on TV. No. It's just by many moons ago, my dad, who sadly died a couple of years ago, he's a cool man, but he worked in the wine trade, the restaurant trade, and he used to sell wine to a chef called Rick Stein many moons ago. Yeah. So Rick was around for lunch one day, we were yapping away, and this, I think, his early days of his programmes. Yeah. And he said, "Would you take my crew out fishing?" I said, "Yeah." Well, I was at university dossing, fishing my socks off 7 days a week, 7 nights a week. I said, "Yeah, no worries at all." The next day, his director called me up, David, who sadly, I think he's died as well, really nice lad. Took him out fishing, just, I don't know what we did, caught a few fish, whatever. I was very young. And then, went out, I think it went out on, would it be BBC or something back? I don't know. Went out on a TV station.
Because Rick Stein's show was mainstream, wasn't it? It wasn't.
Oh yes,
it wasn't some
It
was proper TV.
I was just some prat. They said, "Can you come and take us fishing?"
Yeah.
I'm sure I probably spoke a bit to camera, not to camera.
Oh, so they actually recorded that as well as part of the Rick Stein.
It went on the cookery show.
So
it went on some,
So it wasn't just you taking his crew out for a little bit of fishing.
Oh no, sorry. So when I said take the crew out fishing, as in, can you come and film a sequence for our TV programme?
Right.
So I did that, and then I think someone, this is back in the day of letter writing. I don't even remember. Actual proper letter. And I was at university, and it came out on TV, and I got a letter in the post in my rather filthy student house, and it said like, "Dear Mr. Gilbey, whatever, I am." Blah blah blah. I used to direct John Wilson's programs. I'm looking for a new project.
Legend.
I grew up with John Wilson.
Yeah. So
absolute legend. Grew up watching him.
Did you ever meet him? Did you ever meet him?
Yeah, loads of times. Yeah, it couldn't have been nicer. I mean, he just sounded as a pound.
He was always great with me.
Yeah, couldn't have been. I mean, I used to buy maggots from his tackle shop in Norwich. Way back in the day. And then a letter came through saying, "Would you meet me and do a screen test? We'd like to try and talk about doing a TV program." I said, "Yeah, well, whatever." I mean, I nearly threw the letter away, thinking, "Oh, this is a wind up from a mate, you twat," sort of thing. And I remember, I probably went to London. This is back in the day, before mobiles. I think it might have been before electricity. Went to London on the train, met the guy, Paul, that really nice guy called Paul. He said, "Look, I'd like to do a test." He came down for a weekend. We filmed what I guess you'd call a pilot.
Yeah.
It's just a case of going out, sticking a camera in my face and seeing if you crumble. It wasn't about catching fish. It's just do your thing. So I just did that. I sort of enjoyed it. He cut something together. Sorry, my watch beeped. And then you start, he said, "Do you want to give this a crack?" I said, "Well, what is the crack? What do you do?" He said, "Well, you take this pilot and then you start pushing it out to TV stations." Obviously, I suppose he could talk to people because he was I think it might have been John's first director. I don't know.
He had a bit of legit. He had some skin in the
exactly.
game.
So, but still, getting a commission is bloody hard. I think it took us.
That's the hardest bit, isn't it?
It took us a year and a half, maybe. I mean, there was no, there was every chance they say no, go away.
Because there's no real fishing programs back then, was there? There was no.
Well, there was John's.
Yeah, there was John's,
which was the best. Had Passion for Angling been out one night?
The Passion for Angling, mate.
Oh, it's awesome because that's proper filming. We made TV programs.
They were making art.
Passion for Angling was shot on 16mm. I dread to think how much footage they shot to get the sequences. Beautiful. I think we probably all aspired to that and got nowhere freaking near it. So anyway, we just after about a year and a half of yapping, we got commissioned. I think it was a co-production between West Country. Is that my ITV? West Country.
Yeah, West Country.
And some obscure Discovery Channel. Probably change the name every couple of years. And then, what was the first series called?
Wild Fishing, what?
No, I don't know. It was called. I don't remember what it's called now. Yes, because we had these quite grown-up meetings. I think I had long hair then. I had long hair. I was trying to be grown up in these meetings. Going to like TV executive meetings, trying not to get the giggles. I can remember we went to this meeting. We were quite close to sort of going like all systems go. Here's some money to actually get paid and make it. And I remember them saying, "We've had this executive meeting. We've sat down and we've thought about a title for the show." And I was like, "Great!" Me and my director Paul were like, "Yeah, what? I'm sure it's Fishing with Henry." I said, "What? You're having a laugh, aren't you?" I said, "You seriously? That's all you can come up with?" And that was it. And then we just went and made them. I say went and made them. I mean,
What year was that then? What were we talking?
I'm 51, and I reckon I was. If I said I was 25, maybe.
Okay.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I have no copies of the shows at home. My girls, who are 19 and 17, have never seen a single one. I hope they never do. I don't watch them. I haven't watched them since the day. Well, I've never even watched them when they went out. I can't. I hate watching myself on TV.
That is some of the first, legit fishing shows, though. Someone that grew up watching that stuff used to have a passion for angling. What was that one? The weird one? Euro fishing,
There was a very off the wall one, which I can't remember. But it's weird now because
it used to be on like Channel 4 in the evenings, wasn't it?
He committed suicide, didn't he?
Nick Fisher.
Yeah,
and it was called Screaming Reels.
Screaming Reels.
Really. That's when you could make
another Southwest guy, wasn't he?
Off the wall stuff. But I mean, it does make me. I'm not young. I mean, I'm 51. I'm very much middle aged. But let's say we had a few viewers. Now people come up and say, or they message me and say, "Henry, I used to watch you when I was a kid." It's like, Jesus. And now they've got kids, families, they've got real jobs. I think, my God, I'm old.
But that's a legit process to go through, because now, with YouTube, anybody can go and make, if you can get a video, if you can get a lad who's half decent with a camera, you can now go out and put any sort of fishing show
it's brilliant.
that you want to.
I think it's brilliant.
It's brilliant, but that is a legit Like that is the old school way.
Well, it was pre-streaming. It was pre.
Oh yeah,
It was pre-Facebook and all that sort of stuff.
Sat
Wasn't
with
it?
TV
we were
execs.
commissioned. We were given X amount of money. Obviously, you've got to give away all your rights because they're not going to give you the rights unless you say, "I'll give away my rights. Here's the money."
They were the key holders to get.
I do a huge amount of work in the background, planning the episodes, then working with the director or the producer, what we can do, what we can't do budget-wise. Do we have 1 camera, 2 cameras? Those are back in the days of the old Betacam SB cameras, massive tripods, and you'd have a sound man attached to the camera on an umbilical, and then I'd be saying, this is heavy. It's not like the gear in the studio. These tiny little, mirrorless cameras. These are big. And I'd say, in my naivety, I'd say, right, I need to walk 2 miles that way, and it's not fishing. I need to walk another 2 miles that, and these poor blokes are like
lumping gear
dying.
around.
And I remember that was my naivety, and I learned our first ever day of shooting was like almost, here's the money. I remember the spot I could take you to the spot in North Cornwall now. I think we were going wrasse fishing, and it's a cliff path you and I would run down.
Yeah.
Even now in my middle age, I'd probably crawl down it.
But we took that for granted.
Yes.
I've taken guys out and they've been like, "You're fucking
Our
kidding,
first
aren't you?"
sound man lasted. He was gone.
I'm not doing this.
Went white. Said, I'm going down.
I've taken multiple people
And I was
out,
like,
keen anglers.
Just assume that everyone would do what I do.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be. I'm not being a twat. It's nothing macho or anything. Just assume you naively assume that we all do it. So we have to go and get a new sound man. It's like.
And I've often said, well, fucking hell, this is one of the easier ones.
Yeah, but it's just.
You go down the routes of Rob York with climbing ropes, and it's like fucking next level. It's like, oh.
But I fell into it. I just fell into doing it. I enjoyed the process. But the problem is you start to learn the process, and you start to understand how programs are put together. You start to learn about editing. You start to learn about why. When you as an angler, you think you want to watch someone fishing and catching fish for 24. Our programs are 24 and a half minutes because of ad breaks and stuff. I always remember that. I don't remember what we filmed, but I remember that. But actually, you start to learn about. You have to build sequences. It's not about. Let's say we probably used to have. I think in the early days, was it 4 days fishing, / filming per show, and a day travel either side. So 6-day shoots per episode. And then it would be probably 2 weeks of editing per episode, but I wasn't part of that. But you start to learn how to build a program. It's all very well me trying to catch 10 wrasse or 15 pollock or trying to look all macho and I'm a great angler, but they ain't going to show 15 pollock. You've got to build those sequences. You catch a fish, pull away, shoot your cutaways, shoot your wides, shoot your B-roll, all this sort of stuff, and you start to learn. So almost, and then you start to, as you start doing they're called PTCs, pieces to camera, all this sort of stuff, and you start trying to talk to an edit point. If that makes sense. You probably talk even more crap, but I can talk fishing till the cows come home. But you start, unless you give them an edit point, they can't pull away from you. So if they say, can I have a 15-second PTC? So I go, oh, yeah. And they can be an OTW, one take wonder. And you go, boom, and you yap. And you want to try and time it ahead, 15 seconds, 10 seconds, give them a cut. So if you keep going, you can't give them a cut point. So you have to reshoot it. So you start to learn. But then the problem is, and it's a good problem, is as you start to learn how they're put together, you start to learn the editing process. I'm not an editor, but you start to learn, you understand what you've shot. You understand what you've banked, and then sometimes you don't see the shots appearing in the edit. It doesn't mean they should be in there, but it's like, hang on, I know we shot a good sequence here, and it starts to create slightly difficult. I think that's where presenters, not that I'm a presenter, call me a 4-series useless presenter, but you learn.
Bit harsh.
But you do. This is possibly where people get reputations. I hope I didn't, because I was saved some hard conversations by various sort of business ways it went. But I was not very far away from having some difficult conversations because I don't think my shows were cut well enough.
Because of the way that you came across on camera? Or the
No,
way
I think you start to learn you learn what good editing is. And look, my youngest brothers, both my younger brothers work in the film industry. They're both film directors. And my younger brother is a BAFTA award. I'm the black sheep of the family, mate. No, I've won nothing. My youngest brother is a BAFTA award-winning editor. He's frigging awesome. And when you talk editing to him, you realise what editing is. And it's just, you start to learn there's a huge difference between what you shoot and what ends up in the programme. And you see, people I take my hat off to anyone who goes and shoots stuff and makes their own YouTube videos. All freaking credit, because it ain't easy. It's not.
I've got some of those lads coming in because I think some of those lads are great ambassadors for what we do.
100%.
Because they're just doing it out of pure love of fishing.
They're not going to make money.
No.
Maybe they will.
No.
Maybe I'm doing it wrong and they are. I don't know.
I don't know. I think you have to get so many subscribers into YouTube before you can start monetizing this stuff, unless they're getting sponsorship deals off the back end. A lot of these lads, like one lad we've got coming down, he's probably got about 5,000 followers. There's no way he's monetizing any of that stuff.
No.
That lad is putting 3 videos up every single week, and he's jumping between boat fishing, LRF fishing, doing this, doing that, and you can just see the excitement on his face when he's doing it all the time. That's why I reached out to him. I thought, you just love it.
Well, it's brilliant. I think it's cool, but it's editing, and more editing.
I tried to have a tiny dabble in it when we were making some of the videos for Tuna Gear. And I've got a guy that does all my video work, he edits for me, and I downloaded some software and I thought I could do this.
Yeah, no, it's...
Yeah. In the way that Matt is slick with what he does.
Yeah.
It's
a skill, make no mistake, it's a skill.
It's an art form in itself.
I was reading a massive interview the other day with Martin Scorsese's editor, and she has worked with him since... maybe Mean Streets.
Right.
And she wasn't an editor. Basically learned to edit with Martin Scorsese, and now she's an Oscar-winning... God, it's fascinating. I mean, those are days of literally cutting film. I mean, that is...
Yeah, cutting film.
It's different now. We get Final Cut Pro up on a Mac, and we can look mildly professional.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just... But then, obviously, my youngest brother is a different level, obviously.
Were you, at that time, working behind the camera? But not the TV camera, as in you were a photographer.
I suppose I've always had a mild interest in photography, and then it was at university when you're fishing. I was fishing. What
were you doing at uni?
It doesn't maritime business studies, but I just went fishing.
Well, I didn't know if it had anything to do with the photography or the film, media studies, that sort of stuff back in the day.
I just fished. I literally fished all the time, and used the government money to manage to stay.
It was a black to not have to get a proper job so you could carry on fishing.
100%.
That's fine. Yeah. No, I respect that. I respect that.
So when I tell my girls,
this is before you had to pay.
Work hard.
This is before you had £9,000 a term fees.
Because if my parents had to pay, then I'd have been gone.
Yeah, you'd have been insane to
when I had to do retakes after my first year, because I did a Guernsey trip, wrecking trip, thought about my exams. My parents, if they'd been paying, my parents would have said, gone. So no, I was fishing with mates, and I just wanted to just, record, I don't know, a small-eyed ray or a huss, whatever. And you start to get into it, and you start to shoot the more creative stuff.
Were you going in with like a camcorder, like the big old?
No, I was shooting stills. This is
all photography.
Yeah, this is all. Yeah, and then I just getting more and more into it, and then it was probably during that first series. So I was probably with the first TV series. Let's say I was gainfully employed for 6 months. I had sort of 6 months of guaranteed.
You got a paycheck.
Yeah, I was guaranteed, not much, but I was guaranteed employed. I could actually.
Did you drop out of uni?
No, I finished uni with a very high class degree.
That's
if my mum's watching. Did I lie? I think I was like, no, I got yeah. Anyway, no, I didn't get flung out. Doesn't matter. And then I just started, started submitting probably photographs. Those are the days of 35mm transparencies, slide film.
Yeah.
I started submitting stuff to Siangler, it would have been, saying, would you, my name's Henry, you haven't got a clue who I am, writing letters, sending boxes of slides.
Was this after you had done the filming?
This was during it, probably, because I started just taking more and more photographs, and then I started to think, hang on, I can sort of do this. And then they said, we'll publish some of your work, then you think, hang on, and then I went crazy. Photography just went absolutely loopy. To the point where if I didn't have, I would do photography 100% if I could.
Is it still a big passion of yours, the photography side of it?
I love it. I'll happily take photographs rather than fish. I don't give a stuff if there's double figure bass coming in everywhere. The light's good, I'll shoot pictures. Not that I need to. I mean, I shoot far too much compared to what I need to sell or what I need. I just can't help it. I just like shooting. And I've been very lucky. I've shot all around the world. You know, a lot of my sort of material I used to would be published in sort of magazines in Australia or America or I don't know, Norway, Finland, Germany. I used to work for magazines all over the place, so you'd never see the work. But I'd go off to, I don't know, the Seychelles or Gabon in Africa and shoot stuff, and then push out features to, you know, I don't know, Alton Fisker or whatever it was, you know. And,
do you have a favourite thing to shoot?
Bass fishing and probably saltwater fly fishing.
Okay.
I'm a crap fly angler, make no mistake. But the problem is I spent so much time around it, fresh and salt, with bloody good anglers, that I know what's good and I know what's bad. Doesn't mean I can do it.
Not enough to be dangerous.
Dangerous being the opposite word. I can put flies in the back of your head like you wouldn't believe. No, but I love... I suppose I came around to lure fishing and fly fishing photography-wise so much because there's always motion. You know... Shore fishing is great, bait fishing is great. Any kind of
static.
Yeah, any kind of fishing is great. But 2 rods on a tripod does kind of limit you. It's why I very, very rarely go boat fishing these days, because put me 20 miles offshore and a grey sky, and I'm dead photographically.
Yeah, there's only so much you can do.
I've got 3 shots plus a blind shot like that with a fisheye lens. That's about it. Give me on the shore. I don't care what the weather is. I can make it look good. You know, fly fishing is always something moving, and saltwater fly fishing. You know, when you're on the flats, you know that the flats go against every sort of rule of photography. And they say last light, first light, but last light and first light on the flats often looks crap. It's when those flats light up with the high sun. You know, you go out in the morning onto the flats, you know, shallow water.
When you say the flats,
shallow saltwater flats,
tropical flats,
sort of neat tropical like the Seychelles. I've been all over the place, Bahamas. Wherever, but shallow sand flats.
Yeah.
And you look at them in the morning. Every morning you think they look crap. It just looks. And then that sun gets high and they light up. There's a flat in an atoll about 250 miles off Mauritius, an atoll called St Brandon's. It was called Yellow Flat.
I went there for my honeymoon.
And
Mauritius, beautiful place.
I just sailed 250 miles away.
Oh, it was beautiful.
But it was
I
cool.
didn't get 250 miles off.
It was awesome. But this place called Yellow Flat, that sun comes up high and it just lights. So you're working with this really harsh light, but everything's lit from below quite softly. And then you've got those guys or girls, you know, double hauling the sort of 12-weight after the GTs, or they're picking off a bonefish, or you can hear them on a long lens, you hear them swearing at a permit. If you ever want to hear swearing, watch a person going after permit. All you can hear is... because they're the hardest fish to catch, practically. So I love it. I like going on these trips. I'd never fish. Well, I might catch a bonefish at lunch. Everyone's having lunch, so Henry thinks, I can fly fish, grab someone's rod, catch back of my head, catch a bonefish, and I'm done. But I just like taking photographs.
How did you end up on those trips?
Because I hope I was a good photographer. I think I was a good photographer, and I was offloading a huge amount of material. You know, because I guess a lot of the companies I worked with, you know, with travel companies or whatever, or, you know, guide services, they wanted their services in magazine articles. You know, that's what sort of magazines used to mean a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'd go to the Seychelles, and the footnote would be trips done by Fly Castaway, and that meant a lot. You know, when I first went to the Seychelles, I was probably the first sort of fishing photographer to go and do this kind of stuff, and really, I was the first person to go and photograph, you know, bumphead parrotfish on the fly, probably milkfish on the fly. So I could just offload stuff left, right, and centre. When I first went to Gabon in Central West Africa, you know, I was the first person to go and do that. I got back and I went to 15 magazines, doing a feature on Gabon. What is it? Bang, it's gone. You don't do that now. So I just used to go everywhere, really. I spent 3 or 4 months a year out of the country, taking pictures, not fishing, but it's cool.
So how did that correlate then? Obviously, working within obviously you've done photography, you've done the TV shows. Obviously that was ongoing at the time.
Yeah.
What was your avenue or your first experiences working with a tackle brand that was not necessarily about just the photography or the TV stuff? But when were you first involved in brands, and how did that come about?
I reckon would it have been Svensson Sport in the early days? Is it IMAX and Ron Thompson? Those kind of brands. Look, I don't know. I've got a terrible memory. I can't remember my own name.
Because this was way pre the Facebook social media angling.
Did we have mobile phones back then? I don't know.
But nothing like what we have now. I mean,
I think I was probably approached or talked to someone and then started to work with, I'm sure it would have been Svensson Sport. But you know what, working in fishing like we do with various companies, I've always said I'm incredibly expendable. So I worked with them for a while, and then I'm guessing after that, might have been Hardy Grays. I worked with Shimano for a year.
Well, because I remember you talking about it was Gray's rods on one of the TV shows, the Big Coalfish episodes, where you were testing those multi-piece Gray's rods.
Oh, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, I did, because I tried to break
So I remember the very early days of it was with you did some boat stuff where it was IMAX and Sierra Waders and stuff like that.
Then they probably got rid of me.
And then I remember seeing one of the latest series, you were definitely Gray's rods. And
that's reminded me, because I remember before we were filming, because we got there, it was 24-hour daylight, and we weren't going to film until the next day. But obviously, me and this lad, we wanted to go out fishing. So I remember having this like 4 or 5 piece rod, trying to break it.
There was fucking massive coalies on it.
I remember locking down and say, guys, watch out. Just doing that, just seeing how far you could take the rod, in case it snapped in your face. Never broke one. They were good rods. I probably still got a rod at home somewhere.
We went piking with one. You took one on our very first photo shoot, piking. You had that exact rod.
Did I?
Yeah.
Jeez, my memory's terrible.
So did you have companies, after you've started getting published so much and you've done these episodes on TV, did you have brands starting to reach out to you to say, we're interested in this, can you promote our rods, can you promote our reels? Or was it more, we've got an idea for a development of a rod or a reel?
I want to say companies reach out to you, but I reckon I approach them.
Any chance for a free rodding reel and I can get you some promotion?
I want to work. I want to do stuff. I was always interested in gear. I'm not saying I can make the best gear or I can design. I've always been interested in the mechanics of it. I got interested in the mechanics of the TV work. How do you actually make the programs? It's all about me using a rod, but I want to understand more about it. How, from the processing, the manufacturing, to also the marketing. I've always been interested in how. That's why I said I worked with Shimano for about a year and a half, and I actually reckon I went backwards in my professional development. I went nowhere, and that's no fault, but that's the way it was. But I always wanted to try and understand, I guess, how these companies arrive at decisions. When we see a rod on the market, how do we get there? Was it just
where's the R&D? Where's the
And I suppose when you start, you have this sort of utopian vision of all these anglers sitting around going, I want this, and it's rarely like that. But I'm always interested in the process of getting from a conversation like this through to a finished product, because I always believe it can be done better. But then as companies become bigger, I suppose the process becomes larger and sort of more scary. I suppose I guess I've generally always worked with companies.
Well, I guess they see who you are, what you do, and a company can also see a value in the person investing in the people. They would have seen your pictures, they would have seen you on the TV and been like, actually, because I can relate that directly from me personally, and this involves you, was in like 2008, my first introduction into working and fishing was for you. My entire working in fishing, I'm approaching 20 years now, that started officially.
You told this story.
Was a phone call with you.
Henry Gilbey fanboy.
Yeah, so it was you pushing me sending you some pictures of our island trips before I was like backed a little bit from shops, but actually working with brands was off the back of Ireland trips that I'd followed from your TV show. I'd gone to specifically those destinations, but professionally was Nick Roberts setting up Basslers the early days of that, saying like, I want someone that knows a bit about. I want someone young and keen that knows a bit about freshwater. And you said, well, I've done some work with Danny.
I'll always, if someone approaches me, I'll always try and help. If I get a sense that they're sort of legit, and because I don't try and protect my position. I'm 51. If someone was saying at the weekend, this show in Ireland, saying, why don't you do more TV? I said, come on, I've had my time. It's not. I don't need to be on TV anymore. Not that I don't know if fishing programs are being made anymore. Why do you want to hear me talking to you on a camera? You want young people. It's a young. I don't protect my position. I personally have always believed there's room for good people within fishing.
Yeah,
because those idiots, they'll they'll be gone eventually. The good people.
People can sniff out bullshit quite quickly.
100%. Bring them in. Bring people in. You know.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be forever grateful for what.
Well, no, but no.
Because you put me in a mix, and off the back of you hosting my pictures on your blog spot, it was a blog spot at the time.
Yeah.
I had multiple photographers contact me, as well as doing stuff with you, which they saw me as a person, what I was doing. I was a bit different, and that was where for me, in various directions, I was able to keep my foot within the fishing industry, and then eventually become working in the fishing industry. That was. You planted that seed for me personally.
But my advice to people now, I God, it sounds so awful when I say that, don't I? But my advice to people now who might approach me would be different to what I'm old school. I like shooting stills, and there's probably a dying industry, but I can't help it. I'm a visual snob.
It's a bit like print.
Yeah.
So there's a company called Subsurface Journal in carp fishing, and their thing is print isn't dead. They're still doing fishing books, and they do a quarterly magazine which is print.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
It's the quality of it, even down to the weight of paper.
As someone who comes to me now, firstly, I'm a photo snob. I make no mistake. I don't see much out there that blows my mind, if I'm honest. But if someone comes to me now, I say, my advice to 25 years ago now is content creation. If you want to work in fishing, I don't care if you're the best bass angler in the world. I don't care if you catch the biggest carp. I don't believe that's... Carp may be different. Carp's a much bigger industry. But I think a lot of people mistakenly think working in fishing is about being the best angler. No. And it isn't. No. I always remember I did a panel years ago at the Game Fair, and a certain TV presenter at the time, really nice lad, we were all asked in a panel, how do I get into TV? And his answer was, well, you've got to start off being a hell of a good, you've got to be a bloody good angler. I was thinking, no, you don't. I'm all right. I can fish. I love fishing, but there's anglers far better than me. So I don't think it's nothing to do. Working in fishing is not about being the best angler. Now, in this modern, what do companies want? They want content. They want video, they want stills, they want social media, they want
coverage.
Yeah, people that are comfortable on camera being putting that across as well.
Well, beyond that, I would say to anyone now, if you want to work in fishing, learn to shoot and learn to edit. You need to be a self-contained unit. You are. If you can shoot and you can edit as a one, because you do your own sound. Obviously, back in the day, like I said, sound man attached an umbilical cord to the camera.
You're now on a wireless microphone attached to your iPhone on a tripod.
Do it all yourself.
Yeah.
So, if you come as a content creator, to me, that's how I would now move into working in fishing, because you're valuable to companies. If you catch big bass, great. Who gives a shit?
If you can put that story across within your own,
bass fishing is. I think a lot of people look at bass fishing and think, oh my God, it's a massive market. It's a certain size. There's nothing like carp fishing. No. But if you can create content for companies, if you can go off as a one-woman or a one-man unit, and you can shoot stills, you can shoot video, you can shoot stills, you can edit to a professional standard, I would say that now is your way into fishing. Sure, you need to fish, you need to understand fishing, but you haven't got to be the best. Unless you want to be the person talking in front of the camera, but don't. Be the person behind the camera. It's much more fun, I think. That's my advice. I mean,
that's solid advice.
People do come to me and I say, I'm not saying go to college. My youngest brother never went to university. He took himself off to Australia and he learned to edit for a year. Locked in a studio. He didn't see Sydney hardly. Just was locked in a studio.
It's probably the best way to learn things, though. I'm not convinced about university.
100%.
These guys that are, say, teaching you photography, where's their published work? The guys that are teaching business at university, how many businesses have you run?
Yeah.
I
agree.
It's reciting
My middle
textbook.
brother went to Napier Film School, and he is properly talented. He left early because he wanted to get on. He was being made to sort of make these like black and white shorts, like, oh, woe is me. He wanted to make a serial killer's head being removed, freaking blood flying. He wanted to get the editing suite, and he left because he's being held back. So, if you really want to work in fishing, there's many. You can go and work with a company. You can develop product. You can market. You can social media. But if you want to be sort of like us, you want to be on your own. You want to be a self-contained. I work for myself. If
and still get some fishing in, because the more you work in fishing, the
I
more
have to go fishing for product development.
Yeah,
I don't want to go.
But if you're going to make me, okay, yeah, fine.
It's hard, but I have to go 5 times a week. No, I don't. No, but if you want to be a self-contained unit, you need to be a content creator. You need to know that stuff.
So that ties in really nicely with what I want to say now. Obviously, you were filming TV shows, you were submitting to proper magazines because it was paper mags back then.
Yeah.
When I started, it was proper paper mags.
Yeah.
So the change in the industry and that ties in nicely with you want to be a content creator, the whole thing. The death of paper mags and the growth of social media, because they are correlated.
Yeah, 100%.
How did you find that as a photographer, and obviously working in the industry moving forward? How did you see your growth, and what made you choose your direction, and because it was a totally different direction from social media coming in and that moving forward?
Yeah, look,
Were you a hater or did you embrace it?
I don't know the answer to that, because I absolutely love my Facebook page because people engage with me. So I'm not very commercial. I should probably be a proper businessman, but I just slightly blag it. I just get on with it and do it and try and make it work. Yeah. And sometimes I look grown up and sometimes I don't. I love talking fishing, whether it's to a camera, whether it's to anglers. I just like talking about fishing. We can all talk about fishing. The cows come home. Part of me thinks, Henry, you are a twat, because I quite often, especially when I'm running, I think you are a twat. Because if I was a businessman, a proper businessman, not just an obsessed fishing junkie. How old am I? 51. So how long has YouTube been around?
I'm 43.
So X amount of years ago, a long time ago, when YouTube was really starting, I probably should have done something serious with it.
Yeah.
But I don't think I even knew about YouTube. Now I just watch fishing videos and photography videos. Research, obviously.
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah. But no, I love what social media can do for fishing. And so I don't understand Twitter. Because I'm old, maybe. I don't know. Instagram, I don't really. I thought
Instagram would be right up your tree.
Well, I think
photography side of things.
The algorithm's changed a few years ago. It used to be, and it would have been if I'd been an early adopter, but now it's changed very much against stills photography. So it doesn't work like that.
So now
it's all shorts now and video.
Yeah, and I put loads of material out there and never got anywhere with this. But I use my Facebook page because it's a great way of communicating with anglers. I can ask questions, people engage with me. The other day I was after soft plastic glue to mend my lures. Bang. I knew someone would know the answer, and you get people talk. I put photographs up. We talk about photographs. We talk about whatever it may be. So I probably should be more commercial with it, but I don't know.
Is it harder to monetize it though because it's so thinly spread everywhere? To when magazines were you could sell to just a couple of publishers, our DHP.
Yes, sorry.
Now social media is anyone can do it and it's available everywhere.
Yes.
So there's no longer. I know, for instance, when I first started doing magazines, I was paid quite often over £200 for a feature.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, if you can get paid at all to do a feature, not necessarily the guys, the main players, but me, I would find it very hard now, even going to DHP or Bauer or any of those to say, look, I'll give you this, and they won't give me nothing. I mean, I just get the blagging rights of having a feature.
Yeah.
So how did you, business-wise...
going to the west coast of Canada and sending 10 emails when I go back and sending 10 features, those are gone, obviously. Those are long gone. So I don't, I used to travel a lot, 3-4 months a year.
Although I mean, it's different from Canada, but I mean, I spoke to the guys in Ireland last year, and they offered us again free travel accommodation to do some features, and I was a little bit like, I haven't. I was like, is that even a thing? And I haven't done that for a long time.
I don't even talk to them, to be honest. I was going to do my own thing.
Yeah. Well, obviously, yeah. I mean,
but I think if you go and work with a company, that's different. If you go and work with a company on a salary, whether you're product development, whether you are marketing, whatever, that's different. That's a grown-up job. That's a proper salary job. But doing the kind of thing I do, or maybe the thing you do, or you have to have a lot of strings to your bow, I believe.
Yeah, of course.
You can't. I'd like to be just a fishing photographer, because I love shooting stills. That is my passion, but I can't. But also, I do a bit of guiding work over in Ireland. Take people bass fishing. I love that. To be honest, I started pulling back from my foreign trips. Partly because it's getting harder to offload the material, but I just started to fall in love with this guiding work. I really enjoy helping people catch fish.
Website up, please, Steve.
So we'll put your website up now. I mean, obviously, there's.
Who's that twat? Oh, it's me.
So I mean, obviously you went. I mean, we
with the fashion though, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, we touched on it earlier.
I mean, look at
It's the
colour.
shoes.
The red, the blue, black, even yellow and orange. I mean, you can't argue.
Well, the footwear matches the bag.
It's just.
It's like you
I
meant
thought long
it.
and hard
It's
about
meant-
that outfit.
It's like you meant
I
it.
looked at the forecast for the colour. Did I hell?
So we touched on it a bit earlier. I mean, especially your blog was Blogspot back in the day. Google was a free blog facility.
Yeah.
That's how I contacted you back in the
Yeah.
day. So now you went from a Blogspot to your own domestic site.
Yeah.
Blogging internally. Why did you feel that was it just the natural progression because of social media, magazines, the way things were going that you
blog.
thought? Yeah, the blog.
It makes no commercial sense at all, my blog.
Yes.
I mean, I'll tell you exactly why I started doing my blog. Because years ago, we shot, I think if we filmed out in Norway, and then we went back to Norway, me, Nick Hart and James. I said, come on guys, you've got to come and smash these big coalfish on the fly. And I remember Nick broke the world record. But it didn't stand because he wasn't using the right leader. And I always remember...
It didn't stand because he wasn't using the right lead.
Yeah, but a 30-pound old coalfish, whatever it was, on a fly. I mean, it's not... Is it technically fly fishing? Well, it is fly fishing, but...
The IGFA records are quite strict at what you can and
But I
can't
just always remember the guide... He's called Per. He was a really nice lad. And he took photographs, and he was doing this on his phone. And he was... I said, what are you doing? He said, I'm uploading to my blog. I said, well, what's a blog? So we got back to the camp and started looking... And bear in mind, they've got internet there offshore. We're in Cornwall. We've only got wind-up internet.
Yeah.
And I started looking at this blog and thinking, that's quite fun. And got back and found some free blogging software, whatever it's called.
Blogspot.
And just started writing about fishing. And I still do it now, 2-3 times a week.
Do you not have a whole YouTube monetize? Because somebody like you would be able to run with that to the...
I've got a YouTube... really great. I've got a YouTube channel. It's called Henry Gilbey.
I've just started one. Yeah.
And I've probably got 4 viewers and that. No, I
3 more than me.
I had a go at it, but I should do more, and I will do more. But the problem with YouTube is I find you can't hide where you fish, and I'm not. It doesn't. I don't mean I'm fishing the best bass spots in the world. I just really like fishing without lots of people around.
Yeah.
And I accept. We all go looking for fishing spots.
It's really hard to hide, isn't it?
I worked out very quickly that filming yourself, you can't hide where you're fishing.
When I first started fishing in Europe, when I had enough of fishing over here and I started disappearing into Belgium, there's a load of lads that put all these YouTube videos up. And I didn't watch it to see what fish they were catching. I was looking at road signs. And I was picking apart their videos to work out where they were. And I'll be on Google Maps. They're there. Drop pin. Right. That's my starting point. Yeah. And the lads in Europe are really annoyed with all the English boys now because they put all these videos up, and now there's an influx in the English lads running over there and blowing up their spots for them.
So it's really hard. If I wanted to do something commercial, sounds grand. If I stood a chance of doing something commercial with my YouTube channel, I'd have to,
You've got to sell your soul, and you've got to go all in.
I'm not going to. And that's not because I'm high and mighty.
It's
just because I just like...
It's a very noble thing.
It's not noble, it's bad business. But I just like going
noble,
fishing.
though, isn't it? It is. There's a lot of lads that would just sell their soul because they can monetise this, whereas you'd rather fish in peace and quiet.
But are you really going to monetise UK and Irish bass fishing?
Not to the extent.
I
don't sit in that market enough, so I don't know.
I love it, and it's growing, I would argue. But are you going to monetise it? No. So you're going to monetise to the point where you should, again, like I said, I'm not fishing the best bass spots in the world. I just value quiet outdoors time. If I'm going to go and be in outdoors, I don't want to fish with 15 people. They're all very nice people, but it's not my thing. I don't like it.
You caught much? You just stood there trying to quietly fish?
Or you freaking yomp 3 miles and there's some 2 blokes on the rock. Now, if they've yomped 3 miles, good for them. But it ain't going to be because of me. I know for a fact, I have the biggest image of bass fishing photographs. Saltwater, what do we call them? We call them European sea bass, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
I've got the biggest library on earth by a country mile because I'm an idiot. I shoot far too much of it. I don't need, but I can't help it. I could show you every single grip and grin, and I reckon you go and tell the place once because I made a mistake. But I've never used that shot. My mate had a double figure bass in Ireland, first double figure bass, and I've never used a shot.
In those images are never going to see the light of day, are they?
Because I made a mistake, we got overexcited. You'll never work out. And again, it's a lot of that to do as well. Is because I've been entrusted with a huge amount of information over the years. You know, rightly or wrongly, people have taken me fishing. Now, some people I don't fish with or I've fallen out with over the years. Doesn't matter. People have taken me fishing to their sort of secret spots, whatever. I owe it to people not to divulge where I've been taken because that's where they go fishing. You know, why should I send 100 people there? It's not right. So I can show you all my grip and grins and you'll never work out what any of them are. To the point where I'm looking at them and going, oh, Christ, where was that caught?
So you're deliberately trying to find, if you're taking that cat shot, you're trying to find just a generic piece of rock to stand against or just up against the hedge, blurred out background.
They'll often be shot down. But, you know, and so creatively, grip and grins, to be honest, grip and grins, you know, angler plus fish, to be honest, are the most boring shots to shoot anyway. They're crap. If I didn't have to shoot grip and grins, I'd never shoot another grip and grin. It's just a bloke with a fish. It's lovely. You shoot, make him look nice, but grip and grins is...
For that bloke, it's the best photo in the world. For the bloke taking the photo, it's the worst photo in the world.
Light. I like moving. I like that. That's my kind of... I like that sort of stuff. Grip and... I like shooting grip and grins. I don't mean I don't like it.
Whenever... When we said... When Danny said we're having you on, that image there, when someone met with, like, for me... Whenever if I was thinking of you, that's what I think. Whenever I watch some of your videos,
I like skies.
It's sky and it's choppy waves. You're in a set of waders and you're out there in the elements.
I'm a complete sucker for skies. And someone says to me, you know, are you a landscape photographer? No. Are you definitely not a fashion photographer? Are you a people photographer? No. Oh, Jesus. I mean, what more do you say? But I put people in the landscape. You know, I see the landscape as a whole, obviously, but I generally see the angler in the landscape, and that's my sort of focus on how do I lead you into that shot. That's so... Grip and grins are a necessary evil. Of course they are. The magazine wants the shots, or the blog wants the shots. And of course I want...
Everyone wants their trophy shot,
I want to record a nice fish, but I like the sort of the fish in the hand. You know, the fish in the rock pool, or the sort of close-up of the fin, or the waves crashing. That's what I really love. But
I get that. I like,
and also, you know, it's just, you know, England, we live on a small island with a hell of a lot of people. You know, and you just got to protect where you fish. Not, you know, I'll always try and again. I'll ask people for help because I want to learn. You know, I've had endless chats with Danny about his creature base because I haven't got a freaking clue. I don't come from the freshwater world.
Oh, this is what I'm going to... So, how do you get into the mindset of a crab? Because I was watching your Facebook thing earlier, and I was going to ask you where it was, because it looks like a river that I grew up on. I don't think it is, though. And it just had me in pieces. You're very quietly down there, working. I couldn't even work out what you were working back. I have to think like a crab, because a green crab isn't like a velvet swimming crab. It scuttles along the bottom, and I have to get into the mindset of a crab. And I was like, "This is fucking amazing."
But it is. I mean, that's how cracked we are.
You're fully like. If anybody walking around the corner heard that, all there is a set of eyes sticking out behind sunglasses.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
I'm in the mindset of a crab.
I am a prawn. Today, I'm a prawn. Tomorrow, I shall be a blenny. Gosh, a massive blenny yesterday, actually, that's by the way. No, I was talking to Danny about it, because when I first started playing with those creature baits, crab imitations, you know, I was sort of like...
It's like the Z-Man stuff.
Yeah, and the mega bass, and I was hopping them back like you'd hop like a black, you know, like bumping the black minnows and stuff in current. I was like up and then I remember I was walking across to a mark, and I was watching a crab running away from me, scuttling, and thinking, he ain't hopping. He's not doing that, is he? He's scuttling.
This is where like bass fishing meets some sort of bait finesse, freshwater sort of 100%. Stuff, where they're working like with perch fishing.
Then that's. Sorry, I don't mean... That's the endless... That's bass fishing the crux of bass fishing to me is I never ever thought in a million years, firstly I'd obsess about bass fishing, secondly I'd obsess about lure fishing. I used to catch bass by mistake. You know, I go ray fishing, cod fishing, whatever, and bass would jump on the end. Oh, bloody hell, get off, I want to catch something else. I had absolutely no idea there could be this much to one species. You know, cod, I used to obsess about cod. Cod are great, cod are brilliant. But you're going to catch them generally one way, aren't you? It's not a criticism at all, but it's generally going to be rod and a tripod, nailing a bait to the bottom. I had no idea. You know, when I then get to bass fishing.
Slow pitch jigging yet for them?
I've photographed a bit of that slow jigging stuff on the boat, and I'm at day one. You know, okay, no, I'm at day two. Day one was a lad taking me in Wexford, Southeast Ireland, you know, shallow reefs, and so I thought, my God, this is what it is. But I had no idea you could fish lures like this. You know, how far can you push up an estuary? How big a surf can you fish? How much, you know, I didn't know that one species could be so all-encompassing to now the point where I've basically given my life over to it. It definitely affects my work because I should be out photographing other kinds of fishing because it's more commercial, but...
Right, I'm going to do something very unprofessional now for the blog spot, but you two keep counting for just 1 minute because I've had a missed call by the school. So it's all good. It's all good. So you two chat about what you were doing. I'm just going to reply back to them.
Cool.
And I'll be straight back.
You got out of that very well.
Yeah.
Just leave me right in it. That's fine. So when did you make the transition then from doing the blog stuff that Danny was doing to going, okay, I'm going to have this website and I'm going to go all in as me, as my personal sort of brand?
Initially, the website it has to be, doesn't it? Initially, a website is to show off your photography.
It's your biggest digital asset as well.
And to be fair, a number of clients have found me over the years through my website. You know, dear Mr. Gilbey, I need to buy, have you got any shots of, you know, tiger fish and
so you've always had a website. This is just a new. Yeah, this is a progression.
I've done
of
a
the
blog
website
for a long time. Again, nothing commercial. I just like talking about fishing, and people engage. I'm very lucky. People engage with me, and then I sort of you combine both, and now really the website, to be honest, sort of supports the blog. And the blog gets read by a lot of people. But again,
how often do you blog? Is there a time
to do 2-3 times a week?
Oh, so you're proper at it then?
Oh, my head is gone. Make no mistake. It's just thinking about fishing. Well, you know what it's like. Just think about fishing all the time.
Constantly.
Oh, it's pathetic.
Yeah. I mean, well, this is where this is a thing. I now get to sit around. Apparently, this is a job. And I now get to sit and I get to talk to all these different people about all these. Well, I always liken it to, so when you go into the tackle shop, in America, they've got the barber shop. And all the guys go and sit in the barber shop and they all sit and they all take the piss out of each other. We have the tackle shop in the UK. And the guys go in and they have those conversations.
I agree.
You know, and that was where I'm not that. I would never buy tackle online. I always wanted to go to the tackle shop. I wanted to pick it up. I wanted to hold it. I wanted to talk to people and have a chat about fishing. I say to my missus, I'm going to tackle shop. I'll see you tonight. And I'll be walking out the door at 9 a.m. She know I would not be coming home. I think this is now a modern progression of that.
Uni, if I wasn't fishing or collecting bait, I was dossing in Clive's Tackle and Bait. I mean, that was my education. I mean, mates.
But what an education to have.
People I met and they're still mates now. I mean, we just talked so much crap about fishing. It was brilliant.
So I think that is one of the shames about the online presence so much. You have to be online now to sell stuff.
Yeah.
But I have a mate, I've talked about this in another one. He'll love him to bits. Great lad. We do loads of we carp fish together, we LRF together, we go up on the canals doing a bit of perching and piking and stuff, we'll do anything together. But he will ring me up and goes, I've just bought X. Oh, where'd you go for that? Oh, so-and-so's got a sale online. I'm like, man, why didn't you go in the tackle shop and go and buy it? Because they'll probably cut you a deal anyway.
So that's how I see, to be honest, that's what you asked me about my Facebook page earlier. That's how I... probably I should be more commercial with it, but to me, my Facebook page is almost... I'm not saying it's a tackle shop. It's the meeting. It's almost like a modern-day campfire. And I know it's virtual, I know it's online, but I get to meet a lot of people, which is
cool. Were you
talking
like affiliate links you'd like to have commercially, as in tie-ins to the stuff you're...
Well, I use affiliate links on my blog, and I didn't for a long time. I talk about gear, and people kept saying, you've got to use affiliate link. If people don't know, an affiliate link is, if I mention a rod on my blog, and you click on that link, and
it jumps off
you buy it off Veal's mail order, I will get a very small percentage of that sale.
Oh, I didn't know about that. Right.
Yeah,
okay.
and I always, because I'm very English, I always put a disclaimer, and I'm always, and people don't want to buy. I would go and buy it from a tackle shop, obviously, for God's sake. But I use my Facebook page. I said, it's like a modern day campfire. It's just a way to talk to anglers. And obviously, I do my work at Pure Fishing, and I talk about the gear we're working on, the gear. I'm just always. I'm honest.
I'm gonna ask a question now. You can shut me straight down, or we can talk about it. That is totally your shout.
Yeah, it's cool.
Also, I did a bit of Svensson Sports back in the day. I worked for a number of years at Svensson Sports, pre-Pure, and I know they were very strict at what I can and cannot use and what I talk about. Obviously, you work with Pure.
Yeah.
You also talk about other brands, stuff like this.
Yeah.
Now you can say, "Piss off, Danny." It's none of your business.
No.
How do you juggle? Because I know those brands like Pure, Svensson, and some of the other guys can be quite strict with talking about competitors' brands.
I'll walk away.
So that's just part of your agreement. They understand that? Okay, that's great.
It's just if they don't like it, I'll walk away. Well, no, if they don't like it, they'll get rid of me.
Yeah.
They probably don't like it, but
they value.
don't wanna lose you.
They value.
Well, no, I'm not that valuable. I'm incredibly expendable. Someone like me is incredibly expendable. Make no mistake, and I know that. I accept that.
I think if you're that expendable, they'd have expended you by now.
And there's no motive
Possibly.
for that, Henry. Sorry, I didn't.
No,
But I just
you're
because
right.
I think it's fascinating because I know coming from a ambassador's role within some of these biggest brands like Shimano. If I rocked up and I talked about an APR rod or a Dara reel, I'd be like, "Fuck off."
I'll tell you one of the reasons. Probably the reason. I'm not. Shimano UK got rid of me partly because we never did. It just didn't go anywhere. But when I started working with them, they never knew I had a blog. I mean, why should? Well, they should.
They should because
if they're into their freaking marketing, they know.
They would have done their due diligence before.
But they didn't. So I'm yapping about stuff on my blog. I'm using an Appia rod, or I'm using a this, that, whatever. Just talking about stuff. And they started. And they said, "Hang on." One day, he said, "You're talking about other gear." I said, "Well, of course I am. You don't do it. If I'm not going to talk about your stuff. If you can make me, everything I actually want to use, I'll happily use it. Partly because I don't have to pay for it. You can get a Shimano rod if you're working them for nothing." But you're not doing it, so I'm going to use an Appia or I'm going to use a Daiwa. It doesn't really matter. And they started to get uncomfortable, and then they said, from memory, right, you cannot talk about anything except Shimano. So,
See you later. Yeah.
it ain't gonna.
Bye-bye.
It just what? But so with Pure Fishing, who they are, the people I work with at Pure Fishing genuinely. I like massively, and I know them all. I know most of them for way back.
I said you've known them for long. I've known them for quite a while.
You know them all, and I get to work with some young guys in Holland and stuff. It's brilliant, really cool. But they have a lot of brands, so if they make the gear, damn right I'm going to use it. If I don't like it, I'm not going to use it.
So someone who doesn't know about all of this, does Savage Gear fall under that?
Sorry, yes,
it
Pure
does
Fishing.
now.
Pure Fishing bought Savage Gear. So when Pure Fishing bought Savage Gear, I thought, okay, well, obviously they're going to get rid of me, but they didn't for some reason.
Because I know you as Savage Gear for most of.
Yeah, but now it's by pure sort of process. Now, to be honest, I talked to lots of people. We all know reams of people in the industry. I talk to loads of people in the industry all the time anyway. But now Savage Gear is now owned by Pure Fishing, which is also Penn, Berkeley.
Love a bit of Penn. Gotta admit it.
God, I can't even think of the brands now. Loads of brands anyway. So
they're a group.
I was fishing with Penn reels anyway.
Pure Svensson Sports, who own Savage Gear. So Svensson Sports is an umbrella of brands.
Sorry,
in
yes,
its own.
yeah.
Right,
They
okay,
adopted
understood.
them.
And I was fishing with Penn reels anyway. But now I can fish with Penn reels. I can get them for nothing. But now I get to talk to the people who actually make them. Now I can understand more about it. I can start working with them. You know what I mean? Now it becomes.
So you now have some input into the R&D side of things, and
getting there. It's a long process, but now to me it's a far more interesting process. But Penn make brilliant reels. But if I want to go fishing creech baits up an estuary, I'm probably going to use something lighter, something different. Because that's the way they don't make them yet. Now,
do you push them to do that as part of what you do?
I'm always pushing. That's why I'm probably going to get rid of me at some point. But I'm not pushing it about.
It's constructive feedback, though. I want to do this. Why have we not got this product?
Yeah, and it's
answer.
easy for me to say. I don't have to balance the books. I don't work with the factories. I don't. I can say, please, can I have a rod that does this. Well, not quite yet, because we've got to get rid of this, or we can't be making. It's not as simple as making what you want all the time.
No.
With a smaller company, it probably would be. But the whole process fascinates me. Like I said, I'm interested in sort of start to finish. But they even the might of pure fishing. They do it. They don't do everything. So if they don't like, if someone ever said to me, and they haven't, they wouldn't, because I think the people I work with are nice. But if someone ever said, you can only talk about our product and no one else, then I have to leave. Because then it's not honest, is it?
How have you found within the brand? So again, we're talking about looking in a direction of, say, a product like, say, the pen reel may not be great for your super light finesse stuff in it. But how have you found, say, I know for a fact, say, Pure Fishing will have a remit. They have domestic markets, UK, Europe.
Yeah.
They'll have a totally different, within the same family group, they'll have a totally different line of brands in the domestic market of the USA, the black bass market.
Yeah.
How have you found, because we know, because we've spoke about this, there's a shit ton of gear within Japanese and American domestic markets that we can definitely use. How have you found the approach in conversation of, well, you do these crawls, or you do these bottom baits, or you do these swim baits, to them being like, oh, well, what do you mean we can use it? Have you gone that far into it with making them look at their other brands?
I found that with Shimano. And I'm sure you will have found that.
100%, yeah. And we got there a little bit with them, but but not.
It's not. It's very easy as a. I'm a big person, but I'm a small person. I'm small. I'm just one bloke. I know what I want, and I say, can I have that prawn from
Savage Gear USA, prime example.
Yeah.
They do a whole range of shit that I think, oh, that would work. But we can't officially buy it here in the UK.
Yep. But it's never as easy as just get it.
No.
Because, but obviously, I can go on tacklewarehouse.com and buy it from America and probably pay import duty, whatever. But obviously, these companies, they're forecasting, aren't they? They're forecasting way ahead. Just to say, now I'll bring another load of SKUs in, a load of your items.
Of course,
it's not as simple as that. So, what? I suppose external to a massive company, externally, you think they probably have the time and the manpower to all sit around all day long talking shit like I do. Like, oh my God, I love that prawn. I love that rod. I love that reel.
They're not. They're looking at a balance sheet, and they're looking at your
Well,
profit and loss, and they're looking at the next quarter's forecast.
And they're looking to develop a paddle tail for the European pike market. They're looking to develop a bait casting reel for the US largemouth. But it's you have to segment a market. You simply can't make gear for the entire market.
They're probably also looking at that market, going, "That's a more profitable market for us to be in." So we're going to put our R&D budget into that instead of putting it over into this.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Look, I'm not patient by nature. I'm patient when I'm fishing. I'm not patient by. No patience at all, actually, outside of fishing. But I've definitely, working in fishing is a huge learning process.
If you never had the itch to go, like I got Tuna Gear off the brand. I sat there, I looked at the foreign websites. You can order this into the country now, and a lot of it are on those websites. Yeah. They've got, you can go on and you can buy exact replicas of like the fish minnows. Yeah. Like in the packaging, you buy enough. They'll put your name on it. They'll do all this stuff. If you never had that itch to go, I'm going to bring out my range of this by myself, sell it on here.
Honestly?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Just because you don't want it to get in the way of your fishing, or you're happy doing what you're doing?
I like doing what I'm doing.
Do you feel invested with those brands as well, that you don't just want to go,
yeah.
I'm off, I'm going to go and do this?
I've done a huge amount of work with Savage Gear, and I really enjoy the conversations and the process, and I'm doing more and more work now.
How long have you been with them? A while.
5, how long have I been with them? 5?
Yeah, got to be.
5 years, maybe?
Pre-lockdowns, crap, wasn't it?
It was pre-lockdown, wasn't it? Yeah.
That's 4 years.
Yeah, because that gravity sticks. So gravity sticks.
Yes. Whenever the gravity sticks came out, and it's sort of a year before that, because that's how we took them.
Yeah, that would be my recollection of seeing you starting to drop Svensson into your stuff more.
Yeah, I love what I do with them. I mean, they're cool, and I get to working with more and more, as I learn more about the sort of company en masse, I get to work with more people. I really enjoy. I was useless at school. I wasn't interested in anything at school apart from playing drums, fishing, and drinking and whatever. But I'm really interested in learning about fishing and the trade and the tackle. Should I do stuff myself? Who's going to buy? Let's be clear. Look, I stick my name on a rod. Who's going to buy a Henry Gilbey rod? Be honest. 2 people. My dad died, so my mum. And she only buys it.
I think I'd buy one. So there's 3.
Okay, well,
Danny will probably buy one 4. I reckon I could talk a couple of my mates.
He'd buy it just to go and snap it, just to watch.
I reckon we could get into double figures by the whip round, but
so we can take this from. I mean, but
on a sensible note, like you are a legit person within that industry, and there's people that I would say have less skin in the game than you do, who are already bringing out their own bits and pieces and do that sort of stuff.
But I guess
so I think it's got legs. But
do I want to stick my name on a rip-off black minnow? No, because I love the fish guys. Yeah. I've got huge amount of respect for them. I don't want to do that.
But because those products are out there to be able to bring in, you can go to those factories and go, I know you do this, but I want X, Y, Z.
But I guess you want. I guess
it's the colour, because like we had Matt Forrester on, he's brought all in his own slow jigs out. A slow jig is a slow jig.
Yes.
A swim bait is a swim bait.
Yeah.
You can put your own stamp on that thing and then put your own graphics on it. It's not copying someone else, because there's already multiple companies out there doing that.
But I guess there's an element of the heritage of a brand or style. I very much like. You can. There's Dire Shimano guys that you follow that brand through. So I guess it's that the element of you want to keep your investment and all your time in growing and doing right by the brands that you love and support.
Yeah, I mean,
our previous guest Ben was saying about
with Savage Gear. Got to make a bunch of lures that I wanted to fish with,
So you got to scratch that itch.
Yeah. So I never look. I'll never say never.
Yeah.
In fishing, health, whatever, I'll never say never. But I don't sort of look at it as an avenue. I mean, again, that's probably because I'm a useless businessman.
Yeah. See, I asked the question.
I like going fishing.
I come from business. This isn't like I've got other things that I'm doing. The Tuna Gear brand I got off the ground from scratch, and I'm a nobody within fishing. Like nobody knows who I was. They still don't now, just because I've put this out.
Yeah.
But then I look at somebody like you, who I have followed the journey of, and I sit where I am from the business and from the getting something off the ground and think, what the fuck aren't they doing that? That would be.
Yeah.
But I'm always interested. That's why I wanted to have this platform and have these conversations, because it's always I'm interested on why. Like you're obviously highly invested in that brand and perfectly happy sitting over there and doing. You get to do that development work anyway with them, don't you? So it's
I always want to do more. Because
you're always pushing them for more. What about this? What about that? Or
and that's just because I like doing stuff. I don't like being bored. I don't get bored. But you know what I mean? I like But no, look, never say never. But I haven't really thought long and hard about.
I guess you can put it down to, and it's evident from what we've talked about so far. Yeah, happy. Your work life, personal life, and your fishing life has gone down the route of developing your happiness and what you're happy to do and what your love for it. So
yeah, look, I didn't have an epiphany, but I'm lucky to be it. I nearly died last year.
Fucking hell, you just literally, we couldn't have planned that any better, because I was just about to say, let's flip that into the negative side of life in fishing.
Yesterday, I went fishing. Now, I knew the chance of catching was at 1%, but I needed to test some gear, I needed to get some pictures, so it's work. But I actually went fishing yesterday to a spot where the morning I had my heart attack, I'd have been at that spot or I'd be running. And I was only not at that spot because I'd caught fish the afternoon before, and I was going to go fishing again the afternoon, that next afternoon if I hadn't had my heart attack. So yesterday I wanted to go and test some rods, which are bloody nice. I wanted to take a few pictures, but I also wanted to slightly scratch this itch that I wanted to get there. It's quite a long walk, bit of a yomp. I wanted to get there and think, could I have made it back after my heart attack? And
that's what I was about to ask. If you were down there, you'd have been fucked.
Dead. You'd have found my...
Right, so let's dive into this a little bit now. Yeah. If you want to, you don't have to.
I'm perfectly happy.
So we've been very positive so far. Let's go down a real fucking reality check here. Just the last couple of years, skin cancer, heart attack.
Yeah.
All shit that will kick you square in the balls and stops you in the tracks and makes you question a lot.
Yeah.
Your health, I mean, you're half the man you were when I first met you 20 years ago. Yeah. So let's go. We've talked about fishing. We've talked about the positives and your love for it and your passion. Now there's a massive element I think is a great awareness for people out there because we're out in the sun all the time by the water reflections, up and down the cliffs. Like you say, if you'd had a heart attack on those rocks,
I was dead.
So let's, if you want to, I'll let you lead this now. A little bit of awareness about what happened to you and fucking hell, where this has led to you now in your life as to.
Yeah, look, if people don't know, there's no reason they should know. If I said, probably 2 years clearing up, if I said 7, 8 years ago, I had this mole, it wasn't a mole, this thing growing on my leg starting to look unpleasant. And people said, go to the doctor. I said, yeah, whatever. Then I started bleeding quite a bit. I kept catching my wading boots, actually, so always come back to fishing. And so I went to the doctor, and they said, oh, yeah, we'll cut it off. It's not cancerous. I said, well, I didn't think it was. So then I went to get it cut off. He said, oh, yeah, it's not cancerous. I said, well, I didn't think it was. But we'll lop it off and we'll go and get analysed. Yeah, cool, whatever. Went and did a guiding trip in Kerry. Got back. I remember I was at my desk, working hard, probably watching YouTube fishing videos for research purposes. Working away, phone call. This is the surgery. Oh, hi. Is that Mr. Gilbey? Yep. You've got a melanoma. I said, what's that? They said, that's skin cancer. I said, oh, okay. So...
How old were you at that stage?
51 now, so if you're 42, 43 maybe. You've got a melanoma, that's the bad one. That's the one that spreads. That's the one that a very, very good friend of my dad's, our family, he died far too young of melanoma. So that wasn't great, obviously. But then the NHS kicked into gear. I did a bit of research, melanoma, shit, I don't want this. This is not good. It's not the BCC basal cell carcinoma, the one they just dig out. This is the one you don't want. Melanoma. So kicked into gear. I went and had surgery. They cut a huge chunk out of my leg, took a lymph node out of my groin, and then that was always the worst part, was waiting for results, because are they going to tell you your time's up or they're going to tell you you're clear? And I don't sit and stew. But I love my wife and I love my
kids.
Yeah, I've got 2 girls. Yeah. I love them with all my heart. I mean, I laid out my life for them. And my dad died of cancer a couple of years ago. He fought cancer, brutal cancer. He fought it for a long time. But it was a period when he got a clear. You know, he used to get 6-month clears, and he got clear about X amount of years ago. Oh, brilliant, well done, Dad. And then I literally, 3 or 4 days later, I got that phone call saying you got a melanoma. So I had to call my parents.
Tell them you had it.
Say, Mum and Dad, I'm really sorry, I got cancer. Oh, shit. But then my girls, they knew what cancer was. They knew that Grandpa was going through cancer, this or whatever. So I remember we were sitting around having supper at the table, and I said, girls, I've got to tell you, so they know cancer's not good. So I had to say to them, girls, I've got cancer.
Is that an incredibly hard conversation?
That wasn't great. Kids dissolve. They just fall about, just fall to pieces. So not only are you slightly worrying about yourself, the fact is this going to kill you, you got to get, because I'm a parent, you got to get your kids through it.
I've got girls,
you got it. So they fell apart. So had the operation, got it cut out, and then sat. And I remember then we went. You get a letter or a phone call saying come to the hospital for results. Oh, holy shit! So I sat, and I remember saying to my wife, I think I'm screwed. I think it's got me. And then they said, look. I remember this bloke, he was a training doctor, came in and started talking about this. I said, is there any chance, pal? Tell me if you got rid of this fucking thing or not. He said, oh, yeah, we've got rid of it. It's gone. I said, oh, thank you very much. Brilliant. And then I had to have 5 yearly checks when every 3 months I go in and they feel my balls because they're feeling for lumps and stuff. So you get so you get quite used to stripping down.
It's not that sort of podcast, Henry. Fucking hell.
I was medically photographed in my strides by this poor nurse, and actually the pictures were shit. I wish I'd been able to sort of
I'll do this.
Yeah,
Come
they
in with the tripod,
were
set yourself up.
grossly underexposed and they weren't sharp. And I wish I would have said, look, a bit more flash and like bring the background up a bit. So I'm standing there in my strides. And obviously you're going like this. So I'm medically photographed. Then for 5 years, every 3 months, I go in because they're going for a visual check, feel your balls for any lumps. Then they gave me the clear, and then. So it sounds like a health thing now. So I got very lucky. And
What did they put that down to? Was that just a genetic thing?
Well,
it wasn't being in the sun? Because I'm ginger. I burnt a tree.
I spent a huge amount of time in the sun.
Yeah.
And obviously, I was working away through from a lot of work I did was in the tropics or Africa.
Because you got the double glare of the sun. You've got it coming down on your head and bouncing back.
I was always, even in the early days in Ireland, I'd say, guys, it's a sun cream day today. Mates go, I'll be whacking sun cream on.
Did you always have the hat?
Hats, buffs.
Yeah, the whole
Well,
lot.
I've seen it. I've seen it online. People not take the piss, but I've seen when you've been geared up, you've got your gaiter, your hat, your long sleeve. I've seen it online. I've seen people question why you're dressed like that.
When you were getting in the mindset of a crab, you were fully...
Yeah. So
fully.
But there's a
you
method.
couldn't see you. You were covered.
There's a reason. There's a reason for that, and I know people want to make light humour of it, and we do want to. It's.
Oh, I don't mind if people take
It's
the piss,
fucking
it's
cancer
fine.
at the end of the day. I mean, I, as you know, I lost my mum this year.
Melanoma.
Very
Cancer
quick.
kills. End of.
And my mum was eight weeks from the doctor's appointment to her passing, so very, very quick.
Yeah.
Thankfully, it was very, very quick. She didn't just rot there, but she was very quick. But it's a culture shock for people. But the precautions that you can buy, most brands make the UV tops, the gaiters, the hats, things like
We
this.
talked about it earlier. Danny Fairbrass at Corda, he had a massive skin cancer.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even call it a scare. I've seen the photos. He had like this bag dripped up underneath his armpit.
Look, I got lucky.
And now it's one of the main things he talks about when he's doing the thinking, tackling stuff. Where's your sun cream? Where's this? Where's that? Where your UV clothing? Why have you not got a hat on?
I was always very careful, but obviously when I used to go for my 3 monthly ball checkups, I'd always ask more and more questions because I'm interested. And he basically said, look, don't spend the rest of your lives beating yourself up. You have a weakness. I have many weaknesses, but your body doesn't process sun as well as maybe you, or it just doesn't.
I definitely don't
So
I burn under a 50-watt light bulb. I've got to be careful in here.
There are more and more cases of skin cancer, obviously. We are, especially blokes, we are notoriously twats about the sun.
Yeah.
I see. It's all very well me going off on one. I won't, but I still see such a people. There's almost like a macho thing. I've burnt. You burn, you are massively. You do not want melanoma. Melanoma kills. End of. Yeah, you get it bad, and they don't catch. If they hadn't caught my melanoma in time, it would have killed me, obviously, because melanoma.
You probably weren't
kills.
too far from that with the sound of it catching and all these.
Yeah, it wasn't. They got it, but it didn't want to be much longer.
Because there's a lot of guys, and I'm one of them. It either falls off or gets better. That's the only time you go to the doctors.
Yeah.
And like you were saying with the macho thing, there's a lot of blokes that are like that. But
we spend a lot of time around water. Sure, I cover up partly because I hate wearing sun cream. It's
horrible stuff.
Obviously, I wear it. I used to wear it all the time, but I find it easier rather than when I'm going fishing. Slapping all the stuff on, then it sweats off and you walk up the cliff.
Gets in your eyes.
Yeah, I find it easier just to wear a face mask, gloves, and long sleeve, just because I find it easier.
I wear all the UV stuff out on the boat when we're tuning.
You have to.
I've got the hood, I've got the hat on, I've got the whole lot.
You have to. I can't see any point in.
Well, you've got
not doing
you've got a PFG top on now. That's a UV top,
Yeah,
so.
it's just what I'm more sensible than I used to be. Obviously you're good. I spend a lot of time in the Indian Ocean, and you cover up and you wear this, and really careful. So, where I actually got the melanoma was where I was never seeing any sun, because even in the Seychelles or the tropics, you're wearing flats boots, you're wearing long socks, you're wearing gravel guards. So where I've got the hole in my leg now, that wasn't seeing the sun. So the bloke said, just don't worry about it. He said, it's
just happened.
Yeah, like with I had a heart attack last year, severe heart attack. They kept it. Severe heart attack.
I've always felt really bad because I don't know if you can remember, I didn't know you'd had a heart attack.
Yeah,
and I was like calling you up. Should we go fishing today, mate? He's like, have you not seen my Facebook? I was like, what are you on about, mate? He's like, we'll stop the conversation. Can you just read my Facebook before we talk about this?
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, whatever, mate. And I logged off, went on. And literally that day he'd had a heart attack, and there's me hassling for a fishing trip, and I had no idea.
I got on. They believe it's genetic. There's a history of heart attacks on my dad's side of the family. We found, I know there is. Didn't have high blood pressure, didn't have high cholesterol, blah, 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 blah. I needed to lose some weight, but it wasn't like mega. I was always walking fit. But I got a shock. You know,
Just come out of the blue, just whack.
I now know I had symptoms, but I thought I'd had COVID again. I had various symptoms, sort of including, you know, a lot of lethargy, and I never sleep in the daytime. I can be up to 4 a.m. I will not sleep in the daytime. And a couple of afternoons I fell asleep before my heart attack, and then I struggled getting up the stairs. I was running then. My running went from sort of feeling quite good to feeling absolutely didn't feel that great, but it felt diabolical. And I went fishing the afternoon before, had a bunch of fish actually in the estuary. Then as you said, the next morning I was either going to go fishing or running, but I had a new pair of shoes. I remember, it was pathetic. A new pair of running shoes. I really wanted to go running in them. So I went running, felt awful, and then had my heart attack. Running did not cause my heart attack. In fact, running quite possibly saved my life.
Where were you when it happened?
I was at home on my own. My lot were in the Isle of Wight, about 4 hours away. I went running, had breakfast, had a bath. It starts to feel like I had indigestion, like really bad. And then I had a bath. Then it starts to get really painful. It's like, you know, pain you can't get away from, wherever your heart's there.
Yeah.
Thinking, shit, this is not good. This doesn't feel very good at all. Still thinking, and then suddenly, I remember, because I was near the window, suddenly my arms went numb, fingers started tingling, and I just sweat like that.
Like shit.
And I thought, I think I could be in trouble here. So I went downstairs, put the dog in the garden, locked the door, because I remember thinking, I remember there's all those stories in the papers about ambulances taking a long time to come.
Yeah.
I thought my best chance of getting help is go to the local surgery,
Yeah.
a 5-10 minute drive. So I thought, shit, I'm going to have to drive. So, because there was no one there. So I locked the dog up, drove in my epic Berlingo, drove to the surgery having a heart attack, got to the surgery, and I went to the reception and said, I'm really sorry, I think I've something wrong with me. And they said, I'll sit down. And I was sort of doubled up, I suppose, in pain. I remember looking at the floor. I still remember now, the floor was really clean. I was like dropping sweat onto the floor, thinking, God, this poor person's got to clean this. And they came and got me and said, come into a small room. They said, do you want to sit? I said, no, I want to lie on the floor, please. And they did some tests. And, you know, they got me breathing and stuff. But, it's, you know, it's bloody painful having a heart attack. If you don't have a heart attack.
Never experienced it.
Don't have one because it hurts and it's quite scary. It really hurt actually. And then they got me in this room, did all this sort of tests, I guess, an ECG, whatever. And then this really nice lady, doctor, I probably scared the living hell out of her. She said, "Oh, you're having a heart attack." I said, "Oh shit, okay." And I remember saying, "It's such a stupid thing," and I swear it's true. I said, "Oh, when it's finished, can I go home? Because I'm fishing this afternoon." Because I wasn't that far away from the last of the ebb. You know,
Fucking right.
The last of the ebb. You're sweating on the doctor's floor, but you know you're not far from the end of the ebb.
I had a bunch of fish the day before. That's the same tide.
When they're busting top water, they're busting top water,
And
mate. I don't care what you say.
And she said, "Oh no, we called an ambulance. You're in hospital." So the ambulance came very quickly. You know, luckily, but I think obviously a good place to call an ambulance from. Ambulance came and they started freaking like putting all this stuff on me. And top tip, if you ever want to take your mind off anything, chew an aspirin.
Oh yeah,
It's the single most disgusting thing I've ever tried. You know that
it's like when a paracetamol gets stuck in your throat when you're taking them.
if you got a little hurty one day and a really bad hurt, like you've got a little finger hurty, like broken a fingernail, chew an aspirin, pain's gone. So I'm in the ambulance, obviously they're blue lighting me off to Derriford, and I thought, shit, I better call my wife, because my wife, who's awesome, but she never answers the phone, basically. She's crap on mobiles. But she did answer her phone for the first time ever, and I said, "Oh, sweetheart, I'm really sorry. I'm in an ambulance, I'm having a heart attack."
Fucking hell.
I said, and I didn't know if I was going to live or die. You just don't. You know, I thought, I couldn't say. I said, "So I love you loads."
Is that when you said, "Don't sell my fishing gear for what I told you it's worth"?
Yeah, it's all it's all work. It's all work. Everything is work. Tax deductible. No, so yeah, that was the phone. That was like the skin cancer thing. I didn't enjoy making that phone call, but she kicked into gear, got the girls, got an early ferry, got home. Obviously, the girls, my daughters, weren't exactly enjoying it, and I got to hospital and they put an emergency stent in. I had a total blockage in an artery. Straight in there, bang, stent goes in through there, and it was bloody painful. Then the pain starts, and then you're sort of all right. And then they put another stent in 2 days later, let you calm down. And they kept saying, you need to know you've had a very severe heart attack. I said, okay, whatever. They said, no, because I always thought I was a bit of a fraud. Well, no, I didn't all. I'd started because they didn't open me up. I had stents and I got like 2 little marks on my wrist. Just they put wires.
It's just different surgery now, though, isn't it? It's all.
Well, no, I said, if my heart attack, she was a really nice nurse, this lady, Chrissy she was called. I said, if my heart attack's so severe, why haven't I had open heart surgery? They said, oh, no, it's not nothing to do with that. They said, it's where your blockage is. If it was there, for example, they'd have broken ribs, open heart surgery. Because it was there, for example, they could do stents. So I just got lucky. But my numbers were off the freaking chart. And then I've sent a few messages out saying, I've had a heart attack, I'm in hospital. A couple of mates, they thought it was a wind-up. And John, who I guy with in Ireland, thought it was a wind-up, thought someone had got hold of my phone. You know, I've had a severe heart attack, I'm in hospital, speak soon sort of thing.
So I had no idea. I felt like a right cunt. I was like, oh no, I can't believe I just hassled you to go fishing.
I've now found out that I think it's 1 in 10 survive a heart attack outside the hospital. So, and that slightly got to me the other day because they were very early on. The hospital were brilliant. They couldn't have, obviously don't have a heart attack like I said. And I also, my character flaw. I ask a lot of questions. I want to know. So I want to know about my heart attack, what's happened.
I think that's a character flaw.
Well, I don't know. I like asking questions. You know a lot more about some kinds of fishing than I do. So I'm going to ask you questions because why wouldn't I? The one thing I'd never understand people who don't ask questions. I used to go and do these.
One stupid question. That's the question you don't ask.
Yeah, but I used to go and do these trips abroad. These clients are paying thousands of dollars to be on the flats with these guides who are there for 6 months of the year. Half of them never ask a question. It's like, what? It's all very well saying bonefish 30 feet, but I want to know why. So I want to know. So 100%. I ask a lot of questions. I ask questions. I don't mind admitting, I'm happy to admit I don't know anything. I just ask the question. So I ask a lot of questions about heart attack. This, that, whys, the wherefores, and blah 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 blah. Why is it so severe? All this sort of stuff. So I just want to know about what happened, and also, mates, blokes, obviously quickly. If you stop bloody running, gave you. And I said to them in the hospital, I said, I've got into running. I said, I'm not built for running. Please tell me running doesn't give me a heart attack. They said, no, we like running. They said, actually, it possibly bought you. It's nothing remotely macho, nothing remotely male about it. But when the SH1T hit the fan and everything went numb and started sweating, so it was like full total blockage, if I don't get help, I'm dead. End of. There's no other way. It's just, if I hadn't got help, my family would have found me rotting. They were due back 3 days later. They'd have found me starting to go off with the dog out the back going loopy. So, you've got to get help. So I asked the questions about that. Why happened? What happened? And so I slightly lost my train of thought.
The running.
Yeah, sorry. So the running and
some extra time.
It could have bought me the strength, and it's not macho. It could have bought me the 5 minutes or
stamina. It's just
strength
stamina
to
level.
think. Shit, I need to get help. Where's the best place to get help? Go to the surgery, which I'm not saying it was safe to drive because you're having a freaking heart attack.
At least you've been out on the roads. If something could happen, you've got more chances.
Yeah. So it might have bought me 5-10 minutes. And then I had my heart attack and blah blah blah. And I was in hospital for 4 or 5 days, getting bored out of my skull. But my wife and girls came to see me every day and bought me grapes. What else you in hospital apart from grapes? And peeing in a bottle. That's horrible, that is.
I saw the picture on your Facebook. I'm going home today, and the picture was just that cardboard piss bottle sat on the side.
It's hot. I don't find it very easy doing that kind of thing because I don't like it.
Were you not allowed out of bed? Was it literally?
No, I was very quick. Quite quickly. They want you sort of up and around a little bit, and then I was always pushing. And the biggest fear, well, apart from multiple fear, I suppose you have fear of dying or this, that, whatever.
Do you have that now because of what's happened?
No, I don't. I know I was lucky, and they said very early on, watch your head. They said, do your recovery, physical recovery. They said, watch your head. Okay. They said, a lot of people will get mental health issues from having had a heart attack. And I haven't. I had a bad couple of nights recently.
Hang on, yeah. So
hit me out of the blue.
So again, I would not want to trigger anything.
I don't mind. I don't mind at all.
I touched a little bit about men's mental health, and I'm a great advocate of it. I've spoke about it with my struggles with my previous years. I've had some issues.
Yeah. Is that all right?
Yeah,
Yes, please.
So,
Sponsor Sainsbury's, yeah?
yeah. So I've
Thank you very much.
I've been open about it a few times about online with obviously my journey with where I've been and how I'd never experienced it at all.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden found myself struggling a little bit with it.
Yeah.
Not massively by any means, but I'm an advocate of talking about
100%.
it. And I noticed the other day you talking. You mentioned mental health post on your Facebook, and I was, although I think I might have hearted it or whatever like that, but I didn't want to chip in because but I know full well that how important it is to talk.
Yeah.
So I think that's amazing.
Massive flavoured water, I'm afraid. Or you can have an Oasis.
What's that?
It's
just fruit juice. Yeah.
It's
fruit juice.
This has got more sugar, probably.
That's cool. Thank you very much. Thank you.
But yeah, I think that's great that you wanted to talk about that.
I believe you should talk about it because it helps me. It helps other people. You know, the amount of people since I've had my heart attack. Oh, and it was skin cancer. The amount of people since I had my heart attack, and since I chose to talk about it, it's unbelievable. The amount of people who got hold of me privately or on Facebook or just private messages. Yeah, to talk about it. They've had this, and the amount, because I talk about my running or my trundling. The amount of people again. I had messages yesterday from people who, and it's really it's incredibly humbling. People say I taken up running because of you.
Yeah.
So, and a guy yesterday said
That must be a great feeling.
Oh bloody hell! I mean, someone saying I don't know, fishing wise is great, but it's half of them because back in the day you were that bloke on the telly, and it's slightly bit of a fraud. I don't know, felt that comfortable with it. Whereas this, someone yesterday messaged me and said, I was 38, I was overweight, saw your post, took up running, lost loads of weight. I've just done my first 10K. It's like, is this you? I was like, what?
But I think you can take that away as a person that you are as a person. So we've got two examples here. I personally know you as a friend, know you for a long, long time, know a little bit about who you are behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So my when I look at your posts online, I see you as my friend Henry, also that.
Yeah.
Whereas Andy doesn't know you other than the TV and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So the way that we look at you as a person online and your persona and what you are looked at from two totally different angles. So you are having that effect on these people is only a reflection of what a great character and personality you are, and what people see of you externally away from your tight circle, And
But what you see is what you get with me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all the same on TV. I had no training, so you either like it or you don't. And I'm just me. You don't have to like it. Doesn't really matter if you don't.
No.
So I just chose to be very open because it helps me to offload. But yeah, like I said, they said very early on, watch your head. They said, do make sure you talk and this, that, whatever. And in fact, I was talking to a lad at the RS show the weekend who's had a recent heart attack scare, and he, bang, depression, antidepressants. And I said, you know what? The respect I have for talking about it. He doesn't have to talk to me about it. But he said, no, he said, makes me feel better to talk about it. And it hit him. Why didn't it hit me? But saying that, I'm not through it. I'm not as arrogant. I'm not arrogant enough, I hope I'm not, to think that I have come through the process. Because, the other day, it was actually watching the London Marathon, and they quoted this, that 1 in 10 people who have, because, I have all these stories in the London Marathon, and what I said, 1 in 10 people who have a heart attack outside the hospital survive. And I didn't know that. And it started to stir, started to get in my head.
Yeah.
It was, I think it was half two or 3 in the morning. It was just like, bring, here we go. And that really, it's the first time, I think, possibly because I've been so focused on my physical recovery, I haven't let the head go. I've always kept an eye out. I'm not, and I always, talk to my wife, talk to people. I have no problem talking about it, but it'll get me at some point.
My experience of it was when I was obviously separation of long-term relationship, taking on a daughter, being made homeless, the pandemic, lockdowns, and all that shenanigans. Mine got me After I was rehomed, it was a year later
Yeah.
when I was settled. After I was rehomed, we're talking 2 and a bit years after the effect of the hardest time of my life, when things were technically all right.
Yeah.
And I started getting panic attacks, and I didn't know what it was. I thought I was having a heart attack, called 111 and couldn't feel my fingers. They sent a paramedic over. And that was over a year after I'd settled in. And it was because in the traumatic time of my life, when it was all gone on, I kept myself busy. I was fly fishing, wrecking. Yeah, I was keeping myself busy with... Yeah. And so the minute that I'd gone through that journey, that's when I was sitting on my sofa one night, and I felt a little bit like, actually, I went to bed that night, I woke up in the middle of the night, I took a drink of my water, and I dropped my drinks bottle, and I was like, what the fuck's going on here? I couldn't feel my fingers. That morning, called 111, they called an ambulance. But that was over a year later, when everything had stopped, and I was back in my lane, and that's when it hit me.
See, that's why I don't believe I'm through it. You know, maybe I am.
How long ago was it?
I think it was the 8th of August last year.
Okay, yeah. So we're not 12 months in then, yeah.
No, I'm not actually. Am I? No, I'm not. No. And so I'm fine. I've never felt better.
You look great, mate.
Don't have a heart attack.
Is it giving you a different perspective on things coming out the other side of what's important, what's not?
I like to think so. I think you shouldn't be getting stressed. But I'm not saying I'm more angry.
More irritable?
Yeah, that's the word. I've talked about it with my wife and my youngster. You know, I have the odd blow up and it's my fault. Not that obviously I'm a bloke, I wouldn't admit to being my fault, obviously. But I think I probably am more irritable currently, and I think that's a hangover from it. So that's a mental health issue. Then it is. There's no such thing as a free lunch.
How it manifests is so different to every single person.
Yeah, of course. But I use it as a good thing as well. You know, if I touch wood, if I survive, if something else other than my heart kills me, obviously something's going to kill me. But if it's not my heart that kills me, I will end up at one point way down the line being. I'm not saying being thankful that I had a heart attack, but it's done me a lot of good. Don't have a heart attack, seriously. It's horrible, and it's not very nice, and it's bloody scary. But it's so focused me on the physical side, to get fitter and stronger and healthier. Now I'm obsessed with running. I mean, it's pathetic.
I don't think it is. That's a massive positive. Like we've all got kids. You want as much longevity.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind sticking around if I can, because I think.
How old are your girls?
19 and 17. I always thought I was pretty healthy, but I was talking to my wife the other day. Said, actually, I am thinking health, but actually I've had melanoma, which is the bad skin cancer, and I've had a freaking severe heart attack. So actually, am I that healthy? I don't know. But I wouldn't mind sticking around for a while. My dad died at 72, which is, I think, too young.
My parents are 72 and 73 as we speak now, and I like having them around.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'm going to try and stick around, but I do, it's given me a kick up the arse. As you get older, you've got to work on that. I did that Couch to 5K February last year. My youngest girl was going, go on, Dad, try running. And I said, no, I'm not doing it. And I thought, it's probably an easier way to lose weight than going on a freaking diet, is to start running.
Oh, diets are so depressing.
It's a pain in the arse. So I thought I'll start running. And I started getting into it. Then I had the heart attack. And I had to stop, obviously, for a while. And then, I met the physiologist, Amy, she's lovely. So I started pushing as soon as I can. When can I start running? When can I start running? So we'd literally be on Zoom calls, whatever they are, Skype calls each week, on these heart rehab classes. And I'd be negotiating higher heart rates so I can get back to faster and faster running. Not that it's fast, but you know what I mean? Yeah. All things being relative. So it's given me a kick to... I've definitely recognised, I suppose it's helped me recognise that, if I want to go bass fishing for as long as I can, and my bass fishing happens, like most of it, it's quite physical. I like the up and down. It's why probably another reason I don't do very much boat fishing, hardly at all, because I like the physical side of it. I like the up and down the cliffs. I like walking 3 miles that way and up and down. I really like the physical side, and I want to do it for long. And I know if I'm going to carry camera gear and all that kind of crap and waders and stuff, I'm going to carry myself. I need to be as fit as possible.
Yeah, definitely.
Also, because I have this fear of, and it started to get to me last year. It's not a rational fear at all. I have this fear of I'm not going to push the extra mile because I can't be asked, and I don't want that. No. Okay, if my knees go, we get too old, fine. If something else gets me, fine. But it's not going to be me. It's not going to be, I'm going to go that extra mile bass fishing because I can physically do it for as long as possible.
I mean, we're a great believer in, especially with this podcast, is kind of ending things on a real positive note. I mean, you've had a good journey. You've done some cool shit.
Made it sound like it was over then.
Yeah.
What do you know?
In fishing, you've had a good journey.
I've been lucky. Yeah, I've been lucky.
So you, and obviously you've come out of the health scares. Touch wood.
Yeah.
And I say it as a friend. It was a bit of a culture shock reading that message when I spoke to you. Yeah. I think you've highlighted here the reasons, the importance of looking after yourself, but also what you've just said there is don't be afraid to push yourself a little bit and better yourself. And
100%.
And I think that's a really good point for anyone to take away in all aspects of life.
Yeah.
And I think we should always end on a positive note. And I think, unless there's anything else really that you want to really go into, Gilbey, I've known you a long time. It's been great to chat.
What about fishing on the Isles of Scilly?
Yeah, he's been there. Yeah.
You've done a lot of that.
Oh, it's awesome.
I've fished. Yeah, I go down there quite a lot with the family.
Oh,
I like fishing off the back of Tresco on Gimbal Point.
Oh, it's lovely. Well, my youngest girl, her godfather is my great mate, Dell, lives in the Isles of Scilly.
Which island's he on?
He lives on St Mary's.
Right, okay, so we had all our family holidays as kids on St Martin's.
Oh.
And this was before the Isles of Scilly.
Cool.
So this is before the Isles of Scilly was the Isles of Scilly that we know now.
You know that sign on St Martin's says it takes X amount of time to walk around the island?
Yeah.
I remember thinking, sod that. So last time we went there, we go to every off island, and then so we'd walk around it. My wife and I would hang around on the beach. The youngest girl, she'd run around the island because she's a nutter. Then we'd get back to St Mary's, she'd run around that. I was a silly.
So my earliest fishing memories is fishing off the Daymark on St Martin's. My dad used to drag me up there, spinning red gills off of there, and then you've got Great Arthur, Little Arthur, the cafe that's on St Martin's. So we used to hire this Drascombe dabber, and then we used to go out to the Eastern Isles and tow crab lines with lures on the back for like pollock and stuff like that. And now when I go over with the kids, I always take my LRF gear and I'm fishing off the rocks over there for like wrasse, pollock, that sort of stuff.
It's awesome. It's just it's such a special place. I tell anyone, just go. Yeah. It's so different from Cornwall. It's just. Oh, it's
its own little world, isn't it? It's just this little atoll in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. Absolutely gorgeous. When was the last time you were down there fishing?
We weren't meant to go last year, but this freaking heart attack got in the way, annoyingly. When was the last day fishing? I think I shot my own sort of little wrasse video, and I think I fell in.
Is that what you mainly do, wrasse over there? Because they've got some amazing.
Oh, wrasse fishing is ridiculous.
Yeah, there's boulders everywhere.
Wrasse fishing, pollock fishing. Obviously, they don't get bass over there. Wrassing really exists. It's just you just don't see anyone. I mean, I don't know about you.
Never bumped into another angler fishing.
It's like me at home, and maybe I'm being too secretive because after I'm going fishing, I'm thinking I must be fishing in the wrong spots because I don't see anyone.
Yeah.
But my theory of the fish, I don't think people like walking. Fishing's great. We all love fishing. We're all fishing junkies, but I'm not sure people like walking that far. Yeah. I think the further away, the less.
You create your own luck in it. I mean, I've always been. I like getting away from it all.
Yeah.
As much as I like fishing,
and we
sometimes
still can.
With people,
with that many people in England. We can still, if you push it, you can still get somewhere quiet.
A lot of people don't go out of this. You can go down rabbit holes in this. People are talking about 15-minute cities and all these sort of things. Most people are living in that anyway because they don't go outside of their bubble or their comfort zone. Whereas fishing's that last. I've talked about this before. It's that last great bastion of like hunting, the hunter-gatherer. Get out your cave. Get what's over the next valley. What's over the next.
What's around the next corner?
What's around the next corner?
I think if you have a slight obsession with what's around the next corner,
I love what's around the next corner.
It's going to be good for your fishing. It's just what's there.
It's that next great ras hole, or the next great point, or this next great. Oh, there's a ledge down there. Or look at that! All the boulders down over here. It's
Well, exactly like you were just saying a minute in a statement, that being afraid not to push it to the next bit, and I think that's like I said, really good point for anyone to take. Don't be afraid to dig a little deeper and just
don't worry about failing. You know, if I blank,
you only learn from failing. That's the only way in life that you can go.
If I blank, so be it. But I can guarantee I've learned something.
Yeah.
Whether it's the wrong tide, or the wrong lure, or the wrong freaking, I don't know what it is, wrong spot. But I guarantee, if I don't learn something every time I go fishing, and that's such a cliche, but you do. That's why I started my blog. Was I needed to offload the contents of my head before I went mad.
Some people need to embrace the blank. You need to understand it happens for a reason.
In blanks recently, I'm embracing those. Having thought I was some sort of legend in my own lunchbox at the end of March, it's been tough. But then that's fishing, isn't it? Then you go the next day and you smash them. You think you're the greatest fisherman in the world. Then you get blank and fishing kicks your ass, doesn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. If you're not learning,
it does.
Fishing brings fishing
humbles you,
brings you up. My God, there's I would argue there's nothing like fishing for humbling you, for bringing you. When you think, oh my God, I've got this, and then down you go.
Yeah.
Absolute noddy.
Get back down there. You break a rod, you crack off, you blank, you fall over, smash your nose on a rock or something. Get down there, my boy.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Too right.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it.
Right then, mate.
Thanks, guys.
I cannot say thank you enough for coming on.
Thank you for having me up. It's
No.
cool.
Thank you for coming on. Again, it's another one of those where I just get to sit here and just super, it's like a self-deprecating is not the right thing, but for me, I now just get to have these conversations. I don't even care if people, this sounds terrible, I tell people to subscribe, do these things, but
you have to do the commercial side.
I have to do the commercial. Although we have no sponsors or any of those sorts of things, I'm so grateful that I get to sit and have these conversations now, and it's such an insightful thing. And thank you.
Good luck with it, guys. Just go for it. I mean, fishing world needs stuff like this.
Hopefully,
I believe there's room. I said that you can't protect your position. There is room for. I've always believed in fishing. There's room for people doing cool stuff. You need more of it.
And I don't even want to protect our position because I want to have these people on. One of the things we've said to all our guests is we will give you all this footage afterwards.
Yeah.
You can go and put it on your social media.
Yeah.
You can go and use it for you. As much as I can indirectly promote my own stuff.
Yeah.
It's a platform for all.
Yeah.
There's no hidden agenda. There's no stitch-up jobs. There's no...
Yeah.
It's like when Danny said he did Beers with Danny, I was like, that's just a brilliant thing. It's... Even if people come in and started saying, we want to sponsor this, I'd be like, Matt, I don't need the sponsorship, but then I don't want somebody else.
£1 million an episode, and you might.
No, I don't need it. I don't need it. I don't need no.
Of course, yeah.
What would I do with it? B, it's not a fun thing anymore. As soon as it becomes a job,
but that's what I say.
The fun comes out of it.
I've got to make a living. I work in fishing. I'm not. I don't think I'm stupid. I've got to make a living, but also you can't have the obsession with fishing. Then holds you back.
This is where I'm thinking.
I just want to go. I want to be around fishing all the time.
This is where I'm hoping this may come across slightly differently because I have an income stream that comes in from something else, which is nothing to do with fishing.
Yeah.
Takes care of itself, and I don't have to be so involved with it nowadays.
Yeah.
So now I can give this my full attention. And it doesn't have to make money, which means I don't have to tick certain boxes.
That's a good position to be in.
Yeah, we can talk how we want to talk. I can have on who I want to have on. Yeah. Danny can come up with an idea. We can do this. We can do that. We're not incumbent to anybody. Yeah. Sponsored by Oasis. We're not incumbent to anybody. Yeah. We can have on. I can reach out to those guys on YouTube who they've still got a massive more following than I have, but they're doing it pure for the love in bringing those lads. Having you on gives us clout. There's no two ways about it.
Henry Gilbey effect.
Yeah, the Henry Gilbey
with my 8 viewers.
From the fashion, that's 7 more than me. So but there's you gave us some legitimacy with this. As soon as Danny said Henry's coming on, I was like, right, okay, sound. That was.
Yeah, but I'm just a.
But that's the beauty
in your mind. But I promise you, there's a huge amount of guys out there that look at you in a completely different way to you look to yourself. You're like an OG in the game, though. This is the thing.
Old guard.
An old gangster,
okay.
technically,
Old
but
gears,
yeah. But you're legit. You were there though. You've walked the walk, talked the talk. You've done it. There's a lot of lads that look up to that and go, if I could have a career like that, like tick. It's you are legitimate within your space in fishing. No, you are. Yeah, I know it's a hard thing to take.
No, it's really kind. I'm not stupid. I know what you mean. But see, when people come up to me, one of the 8 viewers, and says, "I used to watch on television," my first thing is, "Thank you very much," and then I'll start asking questions because they know me.
Yeah,
they've seen me, or they've looked at my picture, or thought, "Who's that twat in the picture?" They've read my blog. They know me. I want to know them. Or
that's a really nice thing.
I don't want to talk about what's point. There's no point talking about me because it's boring. They've seen. I want to talk about them. What's your fishing? What floats your boat? What do you do? So they probably you see. Huh? They're not expecting that, but I want to know about them.
But that's such an engaging thing to do. So I've got this thing in life.
It's good manners as well, isn't it?
Oh, it's very good manners.
I was brought up. Well, my parents. I think my parents are freaking awesome. They brought me up really well. I believe in good manners. I don't want to talk about me all day long. I know we've done that just now.
Unfortunately, it's the last of the Mohicans.
Yeah, but I'm 51, so I'm not. I'm
on that last
of
the cast at 43. Like my parents, I've got this battle with my kids about sitting around the dining table and eating our food together.
Yeah.
They want to sit in front of the TV. My mum would not have us sat in front of the TV.
Not a frigging chance.
My wife was raised slightly differently. They didn't do the dining table thing so much, and I wanted to sit around the dining table.
Yeah, we always do.
I think it's a great.
I'm not saying it's the right or wrong. It's just what we do, and I believe
it's the right thing to do.
I believe in communication. Talk to people. It's just because I was on some TV program years ago. I'm still want to go bass fishing. I want to learn about creature baits. I want to take better pictures. I want to just. Well.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. If I've got this thing in life, I say I want to be the greatest has-been that's ever walked the planet. I don't want to be. If in years to time someone sat around in these roles are reversed and they go, you did this, you did that, blah blah blah. Like that would be a massive tick for me. Not for just because and if they said he's a has-been, you couldn't give me a better compliment. That is it's. I just want to go out and do things, have these conversations with super interesting people, and just. Yeah, I'm just really thankful.
Look, I think if fishing truly consumes you in the right way, like with Danny, like I believe with me, like with you, if fishing truly consumes you in the right way, you're always just going to be an angler.
I don't.
You can't be any more than that. You can't be some star, or whatever.
I don't fish for likes because I have no social media. My mate's got another one of my mates has got a bait company. It's called Big Dog Baits, Particles, and he's got this saying. It's called fishing for dreams, not numbers. Because in carp fishing, you can go to linear, you can tear it up, you can have 17, 20 odd carp in a day. Yeah. Whereas the sort of fishing we were doing was digging around in the back end of Europe, and if I went for a week and caught one legit carp, done.
Yeah.
But no one would ever. The only place you can see those fish, where I tie on my tuna gear, I've got them all on the wall. There's no Instagram, there's no Facebook.
Yeah.
I go out and I look at a physical picture of me holding that fish, which has been maybe seen by 7 people.
Yeah.
It's not. For
all my, I don't know, all the TV work, the blogging, the photography, the travel, all this, I'm lucky as hell, awesome. But when you hear a scream in the next few weeks, that'll be me catching my first bass on a creature bait. That's how much fishing, if it's that big, I couldn't give a flying shit. Because it's something different. It's something I've had to. I'm learning, and when I you listen for the scream because all the other stuff.
I'll message you when I hear it.
All the other stuff I've done doesn't matter.
We'll play it on here. We'll have a little talk about it
because it'll be
do the follow up.
Boom, done it. And I don't care if it's this or that. It'll be the first something new, something different. And I love that I'm being forced to learn something different. That'll be my.
So a Tuna Gear came
buzz
from
of the year.
Forced to learn something new.
Yeah.
Completely out of my comfort zone. Completely into a new thing that I've never done before. Knew nothing about, and had to teach myself.
It's good. It's good to learn to force.
When I caught that first fish, I was with Sean on the boat. We're jumping around all over the place, like the work that went into that bloody fish. And we're not just talking 2 trips. We're talking like seasons of fishing, of getting things wrong, trying different things, burning ridiculous amounts of fuel, buying boats, rods and reels, which you know. Tens of thousands of pounds to catch something, to lean over the side of the boat and go like that and go, bye, mate.
The fish.
Well, I mean, we'll do a follow up when you get your first crawl bait fish, and we'll go.
I'll come back if you want me. Look, we can all talk about fishing. The cows come home, so happy.
Yeah, I'm sure we can have a regular talk with Henry Slot on the show. Like, that's absolutely
You'll
fine.
get bored.
I would never get bored.
No,
Mate, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
That was amazing.
That's cool.
We'll see you again.
Thank you for having me.
All right,
thank
and that's
you.
it. That's another good episode over and done with. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you again.
Thank you.
Cheers, Henry.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.